I think as long as you believe in whatever you believe in, that becomes God for you. So even if it's a stone, if you believe that is God for you, what matters is the belief. That's the conviction in the prayers. It's not the stone that. So if you're like really, really bad karma, you don't want to keep going through like normal lives of pain. So you just choose one painful life and you're done.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Art of Being, a sacred space where we dive into spirituality, healing, manifestation, and all the magic of becoming.
We explore what it means to truly live, to grow, to heal, and to be in this ever-evolving dance between our humanness and our higher selves.
I am Bamzi, a mindset and manifestation coach.
And I'm Joy, a wellness coach. We're so glad you're here. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let's journey together.
Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to the Art of Being. Today I'm having a conversation with such a beautiful soul that I've been following her journey on YouTube because she also is a podcaster. But today she's a guest. You know, she's on the hot seat. She's used to asking other people questions.
Yes.
And I was like, when do you get to be asked questions? So this is, her chance to sit on the guest seat to have a conversation with me because she's on a similar journey as I am. And so I'm so interested in like what's going to come up. I'm so excited to have this conversation. We already have talked before on WhatsApp, but this is the first time we're meeting in person. But it just seems like we've already met. Does it feel like that?
We have met so many times
before.
Yeah.
It feels like, there was no awkwardness at all, right?
Yeah.
So I really love that.
Cool.
Yeah, so welcome to the Art of Being, Miryaam. It's so amazing to have you here.
Thank you. It is such a pleasure to have met you also and to be here.
Yeah.
I don't like being interviewed, but...
But you made an exception for this one. Yeah.
I've been wearing pretty special orange dress for you.
I love it. I actually wanted to ask you where you got that, and maybe you can tell me now or tell me later. But I want the details.
I imagine I don't even remember. I've had it for quite a while. I was actually trying to remember. Did I have this like made? It was an event, some special event, some time back, and I just love it and I just keep it. And then when I knew I was coming here, I was like, I'm bringing out my pretty dress.
Wait, was it custom made? Did you?
It was custom made for me, yeah.
Yeah, it really suits you.
Thank you.
I love that type of style, like the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the lady who made it. I think she was in town somewhere. I don't know. I just kept thinking about it in the morning, but yeah.
Yeah, I love the colors.
Thank you.
So bright and vibrant.
Thank you. I was told orange is my color, so I was like, perfect.
Yay! And you're matching with the earrings as well.
It's just being extra. But it's fine.
I'm so glad. So I want to start by asking you about your journey. We've talked about a little bit of it, and I've watched some of it on your podcast. But since you're a guest, and people that listen to my podcast maybe have never come across you, and so I just want to go back and understand your journey of how you came to this place where you're at. You're a healer as well. You're a podcast. You talk about spirituality. So I just want to understand, like, what was the catalyst of your spiritual awakening and that led you to the path you're at right now?
Oh my God, my mind is going back so many years. Where do I start? I think I was always a seeker. Now that I know. Okay, now I have found, but I was a seeker. And since I was young, and then I had parents, or like I have both parents. My dad is a Pisces.
Sun?
Aki, the sun and rising bado haijaingia kwa akili. The main one
probably,
is Pisces.
The sun. Probably.
The sun.
Yeah.
So he's very intuitive and all that. So he was very supportive of like my questioning everything from when I was young. So we would always do the philosophy and everything. And then I grew up and then went to college and then started finding more answers from like other places because now I could leave the house. But even when I was at home, I wasn't okay with the answers that I was being given. Other than the ones we'd ask a question with my dad, I wasn't okay with these answers I was getting from the church. So I wanted to diversify. So I looked into Buddhism, I looked into Muslim, I looked into all that stuff. That's after college. And then afterwards, I kept feeling like I wanted to just have discussions that are very religious and spiritual conversations with even my friends. Those are the people I would gravitate towards. And then finally, then I went and became a lawyer. Studied law, became an advocate of the High Court, and then there is that segment of my life which wasn't really nice, and I've talked about it in my podcast. And then I guess that was the turning point where I was like, okay, I really need to find something more than this. There's the more of getting answers, but then there's more to life. This can't be it. I can't die doing this one thing. I don't feel right. So that's when I ventured out and did a few other things. I've done so many things. I want to cut everything short. I met around soon after I walked out of the legal practice. At that point, I met my spiritual teacher. He's called Paramahamsa Vishwananda. So that's the time I became Hindu. So after that, I guess that's the awakening period. So it was like right after everything dropped, and it was just a dark period. And then I met my guru, and then my spiritual teacher, and then now the proper spiritual awakening, proper spiritual, what can I call it? Like the mishmash, just the pain, the painful transformation of Scorpios happened. So that was the journey. And then 2023, I joined spiritual communities and felt I needed my own spiritual community because I needed more people to talk to. So I formed a WhatsApp group called Otherworldly, because at least I would feel normal. Because most of the people, I was just feeling like, she's weird. I'm like, I know, but I need more weird people around me. So then after that, I continued, and then that's when I formed the podcast, because I was feeling like this information, we have it in this group, but I feel like more people would benefit from this information that we are, because if we already know it, it doesn't add anything to us. That's when I started the podcast this year, Beauty Lies Beyond podcast, to showcase or to bring people like us to platforms like this so that we can help more people out there get the information. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, you've gone through so much. I was like, I want to interrupt you, but I just wanted you to just give us like the summary, and there's so many questions that I want to ask. So I just want to go back to what you were feeling, and I think like you alluded to the answers that you were getting, but I'm just wondering like what type of questions that were coming up that made you feel like, okay, like the answers that I'm getting are not satisfying, right? Like from a young age, some of that you went with your dad, and then some of it was at church, but you weren't getting the answers. But what are some of the questions that you were having about life or about this existence, for example? Do you remember some of the questions?
It's all existential. It's all, where do we go when we die? Because at a young age, I'd see people dying, like my great-grandma, and I'm like, where? So like one example is when my great-grandma was dying, she kept talking around, like that time, I chanced upon her talking to someone, like alone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
I've
like,
heard
who are you
stories
talking
about
to?
that.
And I was really young. I was like in primary school. I wasn't scared. I was just curious. I'm like, who are you talking to? And then later, I asked her, who are you talking to? And she said, they're coming for me. They're telling me to go. So I'm like, that is the coolest thing ever.
I love that. Actually, I want to dive into that. Like, I love that. Yeah.
I was so amazed. I'm like, this is so cool. So from then on, I started becoming so fascinated with death and the fact that for me, it didn't feel like death was a bad thing. It was
Scorpio coded.
I know. I read somewhere, just a digression. I was reading something on my chart, and then the chart came up and said, you're spiritually engineered. You're not just spiritual. So I laughed because I'm like, I think my whole system is just engineered to gravitate towards the otherworldly.
Those subjects, yeah.
Taboo subjects and everything. So I started being fascinated about death, what happens to people, why are we so sad if they don't seem like, my grandma didn't look like she was sad. They were calling her and she looked happy to go. So there must be something more to this. I was also wondering about reincarnation. These simple questions of, I don't believe that we are going to all get up one day, all of us to stand up. Where will we fit? Where will be so many?
The courages and like we just...
I always used to question such things. Reincarnation, I started questioning. I remember telling my dad, I feel like that theory makes sense to me. It makes sense that someone would die and then come back again. Then it's, let's say, I would just argue it out. Another thing was God. Like, so people, I would go to town. My dad and I would go to town. And then one time we were chunguliaing in a shop for Hindi, and we could see the incense. So we were, I don't know why we were chunguliaing, but we were. So they light the incense before like prayers. Now I know it's prayers first. I remember telling my dad, I don't think that people who don't pray to like this other God are wrong. I think as long as you believe in whatever you believe in, that becomes God for you. So even if it's a stone, if you believe that is God for you, what matters is the belief. That's the conviction in the prayers. It's not the stone that really matters.
You had that at a young age.
I did, and I remember that, and I'm like, oh, it was so weird.
No, I love that.
Yeah, I remember. I've never forgotten that example. Why I remember is because my dad was so silent. He's like, yeah, I actually was like, what's wrong with this kid? Cool. Yeah, such things. So God, people, death, reincarnation, things that I have always wanted to know. Where is God? Who created God? Those questions. Who created God? Because there has to be someone bigger than him and stuff like that. Who created us? I had so many questions.
And I'm curious then, like, what were you getting from the church? Because you're not the first one, of course, to talk about how sometimes they're feeling like dissatisfied with the information, or like there's just like a deeper yearning of like a better knowing, because you know, like, because you feel in your essence that there's something here. It's just that you don't know, you don't have the language, but it's a feeling that you have, which sounds like that's what you did. You had. But then, like, what are the answers you were getting from the church that you felt like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or it doesn't satisfy the feeling that I have?
It's first the interpretation of scripture. I just didn't feel like it made sense to me, most of it. Then the second thing was just, if they couldn't answer a question that I had, they'd say, have faith or shut me down. And I don't like that any day. So that is what increased my dissatisfaction. Also, stuff like when I learned about Buddhism way before even college, I'm like, these people are they're ahimsa, they're non-violent, and I always used to feel so bad about killing animals. So I'm like, I just gravitate towards some inclination, not even religious, but maybe religious inclination than others. Because you people say one thing, then you do this other thing. So it doesn't augur well with me. So such things.
Oh my gosh. I mean, one thing that I love is that you had, at least your dad kind of encouraged the questioning, because I feel like there's a lot of us who grow in environments where like that is not encouraged. You're shut down, first of all. Even if like I've had stories of like children that you have gifts, you have like intuitive gifts, and then that is like threatening to people that are taking care of you, right? And I love that you had that like encouraging environment to ask questions. What did that do for you as a person? And if you could speak to that.
It emboldened me. That is why I think I just keep moving and going and changing religions and joining things. And, you know, I was remembering the other day that I wanted to join Freemasonry. It's just that I didn't find anyone. Like, this just sounds so cool. I want to join it.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Like, let's do it. Scientology, Church of Scientology. Who's showing me? How are we going? I had a boyfriend who was like, I think I have a sister who's there. Can you show me? Can we join? Like, I was always like, let's just do it.
Right.
So I just became bold and... Well, I'm fearless anyway, but it just made me want to know more and more. For me, it was curiosity rather than like an end in itself.
Yeah, the Gemini rising is showing.
It is?
Yeah, because it's about like exploration, information, learning, acquiring, all of that. And I'm just like, okay, like it's showing.
I mean, if you tell me you're going to this church and you're going backwards, I'm like, can I do it? It doesn't scare me. Yeah, I loved it.
And then I think, so I was watching your journey into Hinduism and just listening to how you came to that. And I think you kind of mentioned that as you were introducing yourself. So one thing that you mentioned was that your first introduction, you were curious about Buddhism. And then your first introduction into Hinduism is after you came across
spiritual teacher, my guru.
Your guru, but first was like a monk. Right? That you mentioned in your, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've explained.
Okay. So what was it that, like that first time that you went to that reading that you talked about?
Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita, yeah, the Gita, yeah. When you first went to that, how was it so different than what you were hearing at church and what you were exposed to? Like some of the things that were not giving you answers. What was so different about this Gita, like the scripture of the Gita and what you were hearing? Like, how did it answer what you've been asking, and how was it different?
It was first answering the questions of just the same questions of death and reincarnation. Because in fact, we went, chapter 1, chapter 2 is when, especially chapter 2 is when they talk properly about how the body doesn't die. Like my great grandma didn't die; she went somewhere.
She just transitioned.
She just transitioned, and then she'll just take on a new body and come back. I'm like, that makes sense. Exactly. I've been saying this for years. The other thing that I loved so much was the fact that in the Gita, it's a conversation. So Arjuna is asking questions that I would ask. So it felt very relatable because he was very human, and he was receiving answers directly from scripture. So it wasn't anyone's interpretation. It's like I could take the Gita and read it by myself, and the interpretation is just there. Krishna answers very clearly, like the body doesn't die or X, Y, Z. He explains what God is. He explains why the world. That's another question I used to ask. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why are these people poor? Why are these people rich? Such questions. And then, we grew up in the time of Moi. So I'd see so many people suffering. And I'm like, why are we suffering? So in the Gita, that is answered. So many personality types are answered, because that was also a thing I was interested in. So the Gita basically answers everything. I'm like, this is just all I need. Yeah. So at that point, I didn't need a guru. I hear this so many times. I don't need a guru, I'm fine. I also didn't need a guru. I'm like, just give me the Gita, I'm good, I'm sorted. Only then so many other things happen, and I ended up having a guru, but I'm grateful that I do, because now he gives me much more insight into the questions that I had, and much more comfort, much more spiritual growth than I would have if I was alone.
Yeah, okay, I love that. So I want to talk about... you just mentioned something about the suffering, actually, because like there's so many things you've mentioned that I'm like, okay, let's now get into the meat of the discussion. Yeah. So you just mentioned about like the Gita answers why are so many people suffering. Is that something you can speak about?
Yeah,
like, I mean, because I don't think the answer is simple, but like I don't know what the Gita says. I've never read it, but I've heard about it before. But is that something you can
What's
answer?
your take on why people suffer?
Look at you interviewing me. No,
I was hoping you wouldn't catch it.
Oh, please.
Suffering. I still, let me just be honest, I still have unfinished business about that topic, because I still in my soul hold that the system can be better. Like, I still don't believe that suffering is the route to all growth,
right,
and to all evolution.
Right.
So still somewhere I'm like, I feel like a very intelligent God could have come up with a better way to this, but that's one side. The other side is just stuff like karma, just what you because of free will, what you choose to act on, you have to get the consequences of that, which sounds fair. And it's justice. So
yeah. I think my thoughts are also like about karma. And I remember the reason I actually asked specifically about suffering is because when I was younger, even though like I didn't have people that are like answering, I can't remember how old I was. I didn't have people that are answering questions or that I could ask questions, but I was specifically thinking about suffering and poverty at like a certain point. And I remember having this download almost, because it's just a thought that came to my mind because I wasn't reading anything. But it was sort of like a thought that came to me that it's the same thing that used to happen to you when you were younger, when you think about reincarnation. So a thought came to me about how we like you come back, like in this lifetime. I remember like thinking like in this lifetime, maybe you're poor, but then when you die and then you come back, maybe you're like a wealthy person in Europe, right? I remember having that thought, but then because I wasn't awakened at the time. I wasn't, going to church, or I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't aware. So I remember just forgetting about that. But it's something, it was like an answer. Like it was an answer to things that I'd been thinking about. It's sort of like I was receiving information
Yeah.
about that, whatever. And then I remember, like, maybe it helped me make sense of, like, the poverty and suffering. That, I think, speaks to, like, maybe how I understand suffering is the karma that you were talking about. But, like, the way that I see suffering is, it has, I guess, evolved, like, these days. Because for me, like, I look more, like, I've been more interested in personal suffering. You as a person, like, when you're suffering, like, because I've suffered, you know, I'm sure that you've suffered through, like, your own journey.
Yes.
So sometimes when I look at the personal life and my personal journey, I think suffering has been caused for me when there's resistance of what's happening, when I'm rejecting something that's happening, because, like, things are happening and it's, like, the nature of life and things flow and then other things come. But when I'm so resisting what's happening, then I'm, like, resisting life.
Yeah.
And that's when I suffer. Right?
Yeah.
But of course, that doesn't speak to the larger suffering, like the killings, the poverty, and all of that. So I think the larger one is, I still don't have answers. It's what you were talking about. Like the personal one, through my own personal journey, I've been able to see, like, okay, every time I resist life, I'm going to suffer. I don't know if that's something you've experienced and something that you can speak to.
I listened to your podcast with Joy where you were distinguishing suffering from pain, and that stuck with me.
Right.
And I actually agree with what you said, that pain happens. Pain is part and parcel of life. In fact, Krishna says that in the Gita, that he made this world as it is. So it is pain, joy, they're called the pair of opposites. Like, they just happen, and it's part of how this world manifests. So pain is there, but if you reject the pain, you suffer. Yeah. So the easiest way is to just accept it and let it go through you, and then now you just move on. Easier said than done, but it's like the formula.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about what you were I was so curious about your great-grandmother when you were experiencing, you know, her dying. Because that's something I'm so interested in. And I was like, oh, I'm jealous that you got to experience, like, her, like, doing that. I've heard stories of, like, people that work in, like, nurses or people that work in hospice care, when, like, document stories about when people are dying, how, like, they raise their hands and they're smiling and they're, like, talking. It's like, if you've read, what is that book? I think Journey of Souls, or there's another book that documents, like, people transitioning to the other side. It's like your relatives are coming to get you. It's what your great-grandmother was talking about. It's like they're coming to get you, to get me, right? And I understand that, like, you were saying that death is not supposed to be sad, but of course, like, as a human, you're in this human 3D, you're feeling the pain of losing your loved one. But the person who's dying, it's not a painful thing. It's in fact, like, I feel like a relief, because it's like you're being absorbed into love.
Into love,
right? Yeah.
For the people who, there's a caveat, for the people who don't die suddenly.
Yes, because if it's like a tragic death that you did not expect, some of those souls actually, like, linger around. I don't know if that's something.
That's also, which is okay, because if we now know that, it's for sure, I acknowledge the pain of us who are left behind, obviously. But even when we are left behind, we have the responsibility, even for the ones who just die suddenly, the tragic ones. You can make certain prayers and certain rituals to help them go into the light. So help them transition into love as well. Then they don't have to stay in the astral body. And then they are here trying to go back to their body, go back to their family, just get lost in the mix of things. So there is the reason why so many religions, which is why I don't tarnish religion, because religion is a structure for spirituality. For me, it's a container, minus the interpretation of people. It has certain rules where people maybe mourn for like 40 days, where you just dedicate your time and life to praying and sending good vibes towards the soul to help the soul transition. Once the soul transitions, they go into love. They go to their relatives. They just move on. And then I feel like, in as much as we feel bad losing people, we are also happy to know they are okay. One, we are also happy to know that they are with us. Because on the other side, they are better able to be with us than even physically. So every time I see someone mourning, I'm like, I just tell them, like, your loved one is with you. Every time you think about them, they are there. So that should be comforting.
Yeah. So, but of course, it's comforting, but it's like I think we're so used to just being in this physical, like something is physical, something is like
100%.
material, right? It's like if you don't see it, then nothing is happening there. So I think that can be hard for somebody to be like, where are they? I can't see.
I know, but you can also do the best other thing you can do is ask for signs. The other thing I don't like about religion is demonizing anything that's not tangible. So, for example, if you asked for a sign, like just show me you're here, and maybe the bulb starts flickering, the first thing people think of is the devil. I'm like, chill. Yeah. This is someone trying to tell you they are there with you and they are comforting you. I met someone the other day and she was telling me that a very staunch Christian, thank God. So she was telling me she was telling us her parents, is it her mom transitioned and they were really, no, her dad, transitioned and they were very close and she's still going through the turmoil of it, but she feels his presence. It's so beautiful. And then she can feel even like his presence, like hugging her or something, or even when she's in distress or something, she can just feel his, you can tell energy, you can tell someone's energy, and that is comforting. Yes, I still want him to be here, but I'd rather he's here in any other form than if he wasn't here at all.
Yeah, I mean, of course you can feel energy because we're energetic beings. This physical body is just like a vehicle, right? So what you're talking about earlier about like souls that die suddenly when it's like a tragic death, and you alluded to something about helping them transition. I don't think that's something that, especially if you're raised Christian or like you're raised religious here, because I know like the Hindu do that, what you were talking about, the 40 days of helping somebody. Is that something you know that people are doing? Because I only came across it like recently, somebody talking about like helping, that they were visited by a soul that had died tragically. But then because she was aware, then she was able to help that soul transition. That's nice. Right? I don't know, is that something you know, like what to do? Because it sounds like...
I sound so authoritative.
No, which is, it's good.
I genuinely just feel like I don't fear death. I don't fear spirits. I just don't. I feel like I'm not a medium.
You don't fear death.
Why would I?
You don't fear
No.
dying, like death is coming next year or whatever. No. Like you're not afraid of that.
First, I wanted to die for so long. Like, why am I still here? Why is it morning again? For so long. So, no, because I knew I go to a better place. What is this trashy life?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, look, that's a sentiment that I can understand. When you go through so much pain and you just ask like, okay, what is this even? You know? And when you start to understand that death is actually just a transition, you're just transitioning into light, then, you know, it's a relief.
Yeah.
Right?
So don't fear death.
Yeah, and I think like, I don't know if I've reached a stage where like I can say that I don't fear death, but I know that if I die, like I'm not going to go to like a bad place. So I'm not going to go to what we, like when we are raised religious, it's like there's hell. You're going to hell, you're going to heaven. Like things like that. We all go to the same place.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of people don't understand that, you know, they still think that there's a physical place that if you've sinned that you're going to go to, and if you did like good deeds. What is the work that you did in order to... Is it the understanding that if you die, you go to a better place, and that fixed death for you? Or like, was there work that you did, especially being Hindu, that put you in a place where you're like, okay, I'm not afraid anymore?
Okay. Let me backtrack a bit on the question you had asked initially about the people doing the transition for their loved ones. I just wanted to say, I think initially the period we mourn, like the week Africans mourn, that must have been what they wanted. They intended to just make the soul ease into the new transition. It's just that I think we've lost the essence. So now we just do things. We just take the week to
I feel like there were also rituals that accompanied like the whole barrier.
And we shouldn't even demonize them. We should understand the essence and just embrace them. And, you know, this is so much we've lost, especially as Africans. We've lost so much because every ritual that used to be conducted had a significance, especially now during that. Remember in school, we'd be taught circumcision, marriage. Death was also part of a rite of passage. That rite of passage needs to be honored as such. It's not just about changaing and transporting bodies and burying them.
Yeah.
There's so much more. Anyway, I don't want to say more about that because I'm not that authoritative. I haven't studied it. Maybe I should, but yeah. The other question of me not fearing death is initially I just knew. Even when I was young, I just knew anything is better than this, so I'm out. 1. 2, when I became Hindu, one of the perks, I can say perks, of having a spiritual teacher or my spiritual teacher is that he takes, when I become his devotee, he takes personal responsibility for my soul.
Really?
Yeah. So I know, like, once I'm out, my soul it will go to him. He'll take care of my soul.
What does that mean?
That means that my soul can't get lost. See, like now, even if
like
I
a
die
lost soul,
tragic,
okay.
I won't be lost. I won't go to some place I don't need to. I won't be in my astral body forever. I won't be confused. As soon as I'm transitioning out, he comes for me and takes me. It sounds so weird.
No, I mean, it doesn't sound weird. It sounds
cool.
to me, it doesn't.
Okay, cool.
Because I know that we are always, like, there are guides on the other side as well.
Exactly.
Right? So he's like a guide.
He is, yes.
That, like, for me, it's like, I know guides on the other side, right? But then for you, it's like that guide is actually in a physical form.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't sound weird at all.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I love when you brought in the guide aspect. Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, now I know better than to just want to die. Now I already even know suicide is counterproductive, so it's no longer a thing. And now I'm just waiting to finish my dharma, my role here, and then I die peacefully. I wanted to tell you another third thing was 2023, I did a past life regression.
Oh my God, I wanted to ask you that. I saw you posted on your WhatsApp status. Like, that was one of the questions that I wanted to ask, but I'm glad you brought it up.
And then in one of the bodies, in one of the lives, I was in the States, and I saw myself leave the body. So I transitioned. I saw myself, I was just on the deathbed. I think it was good. My family was surrounding me, and I could see myself come out of the body, and I could tell they were like down there and everything. And I felt good. So
So you were like a white person in the US?
I was
you were a black person in the US?
African American, yeah. Yeah, so I have transitioned. I know, and it feels the same way as astral travel. You just get out of your body, you just the cord cuts, but still it feels nice. It feels good and lighter.
Like a relief.
Yes,
because
exactly.
It's light.
Yeah, exactly. So all those combinations are, for me, just makes death for me just less drastic. I just feel bad for the people I leave behind, but for me, I'm fine.
Yeah, I have questions about other questions about the past life regression that you did, because that's something that I'm like super interested in doing. I've actually never done one. I've done like inner child like regression, but I've never done a past life. So I've been pretty interested in seeing like some of my past life. There are some things that, knowing your life and knowing how you show up and knowing the things that you do, knowing that the things that you embody, that have led me to suspect that maybe in my past life I was like, so I love cooking, for example, and I love making like Italian sauces and
I'm coming to your
pasta
home.
and whatever.
Thank you.
And I'm suspecting maybe like in my past life there was a lifetime where I was like an old Italian lady. So that's what it's like a suspicion that I have, because some of the cooking is so intuitive that I'm like not even like reading a recipe, it's just coming to me. But it's not just that, or if I wasn't like an old Italian lady, because I also like experimenting with other cooking, maybe I was like a chef. Or like I used to be like this old lady that likes cooking for people. For some reason, I don't know why I imagine it being like an old lady.
Maybe this is why I feel so familiar, because you must have been cooking for me, because I hate cooking so much. So we must have been living together.
Yeah.
Interesting though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I've always suspected that. And I saw that you did one where you were an alien.
It was the same one. I've just done one. I'd love to do multiple, but I just did one. So in that same
you were able to see multiple lifetimes.
I was able to see multiple lifetimes. So the first one I saw myself in like a weird country, like a weird planet. No, we were in a ship. So we were in a ship. How did it even go? I keep forgetting. We were in a ship, and then I had like, when I went there was an abandoned planet. I could tell like there was something it was a destroyed place. So we had destroyed it in a ship. So I saw myself in a ship and I had scales. I was looking like a lizard. It was so weird.
That's so
Then
trippy.
it was. I saw another photo on the internet, and I was like, "This is how I looked," and had never seen it before. So weird. Cool. So we were on the ship, and then I didn't like. So we were hovering around another planet, and we were just about to blow that planet, and I didn't like it. So I was like going to the commander, and I was like, "I don't like that we are doing this." And then other alien people who were short, who were so ugly. So they were walikuwa wananikemea. They're like, "You woos, like, why are you?" So they were like bullying me and everything for being like benevolent or something. It was so uncomfortable that I transitioned out of that body. But before then, the guy asked me about my family, like, what's my planet? So we were living in another planet. I saw myself with my family. I had small lizard kids and a wife, so I was male. And then I think we went to the market, and then we were eating food that looked like eggs. You know, like raw eggs. Yeah. And till today, it's so vivid. I didn't make it up. It's still right there in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yuck. So that's it. So then I transitioned, and then I went to the life in the States where my current mom was my mom then.
Oh,
Yeah,
you chose her again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have chosen her so many times.
Really?
Even in another lifetime, yeah. She just keeps coming.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that because it goes to that idea that you have a soul family that you reincarnate with like every single lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, like you have like, and I don't know how you feel about your mom. I feel like there's some people in your life where when you meet them, there's a familiarity, there's like a safety there, and you build like a beautiful, if they're not like your immediate family, you build like a beautiful friendship, and it feels comfortable. It's because you experienced another lifetime with them.
Yeah.
They're like part of your soul family. So that idea of like you have certain people that keep coming back with you. Do you feel that like that?
Yes, I do. Sometimes I look at people and I'm like, I feel like we've been together, but I don't even tell them. But yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be weird, especially if somebody hasn't reached a stage where they've questioned and they've gotten to a place where like they're diving into this, you know, woo-woo stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know what? There's sometimes like I catch myself and I'm like, tone down, like you're not talking to somebody. I like one of my good friends. I always tell her like, hey, I know that I'm weirding because she's open to listening, but she's not, you know, she's in a completely different stage. But I always warn her and be like, hey, I know that I'm being weird, but like she's holding space for me, so like I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to watch myself of what I say to her and be like, hey, okay, that's too much. I don't know if you feel like that.
Yes. This is why I form communities, because I'm like, I also don't want to keep dimming my shine or fitting in to explain myself. I'd rather just have this kind of conversation.
Right.
Talk about being alien with people. Some people who saw that post were shocked. They were on my DM like, what do you mean? Like,
I was just excited to like ask you about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So some people were like, you're crazy. And then I posted the photo of the deity at the temple who looks like he looks. Did you see it? Okay, I'll show you. And then they're like, "You're weird. You're like you're crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Yeah. Anyhow, so yes, my mom was with me, and she was a single mom, and I was a single mom. It was in the 1800s, I think, where you couldn't have. I had a biracial kid.
So you in the slavery era?
Yes, but I had like a secretary job in some organization, some factory, and then it was my daughter's It was my daughter's birthday, and then first birthday, and then the women of that estate were making fun of my daughter because her skin was too light, and they didn't want their kids to play with my daughter, and now I knew it's because she was biracial,
right? Yeah,
and the person who was the father was white, obviously, and he wasn't like participating
because he was
obviously
not accepted.
Yes,
at
and
the
he was
time.
the son of the owner of the factory, and I know him in this lifetime.
No,
yeah, I know. I was like,
wait, the father of your child?
Yes, in this life. And the weird part was when I met them in this life, I knew. I told them, so they're not woo-woo at all. They are at Aries. They're like, what are you talking about?
Is he a white person in this?
No, thank God. No.
Wait, how did you know that it's him?
I did. So I knew after the regression, because I asked, or the guy asked whether it's the same person. But when I met them in 2022,
Oh
I
my
knew.
gosh.
I was like, dude, you owe me something. I'm here because you owe me something. It's karmic. I can tell. I can tell sometimes.
Oh, girl, we need to
So-
have more discussions about this because what?
Yes, and it's so weird. I even think I want to divulge everything. I can tell you off the camera, but it was
Yes.
so uncanny. So uncanny. It was crazy. I just laughed listening
So are
back
you
to this.
friends?
Yeah, we're still friends. We're still friends, but I
My
had to do a
jaw
lot
is
of
on the floor.
I had to do a lot of work to forgive him, because it's like, you abandoned us. I don't care what it was about. You could have done something, but you didn't. Anyway, I have shared the story of camera, but it was very uncanny. I had to do a lot of forgiving, and in that forgiveness session, I had to choose whether I wanted to like break it off or keep him as a friend. So I chose to keep him as a friend. So we're still friends.
Right. Oh my gosh, I'm so interested.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Oh my god, I love that.
was
Okay,
cool.
like you've seen a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it hard to exist on this physical plane where people, you know, it's like it's what I see. That's what's
Yeah.
true. Right? I can't, like, you know, it's the physical, that's what's true. And as a person who's seen a lot, who understands, like, there's so much beyond that we don't see. Like, how do you navigate? Because it's challenging for me to exist with people that, like, that is not, it's like, you're crazy. You're the one who's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how you've navigated and how you were able to make it happen and still have friends that don't believe that there's something beyond.
I actually, it's easier for me. One, because I stopped explaining myself. So you just take me as I am, or you don't.
Right.
But I think what makes it easier is because now when I look at life, I don't struggle so much to understand what's going on. I'm able to just understand it from like a higher perspective.
Yes.
So it makes life easier for me, not harder.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I was, in fact, talking to a friend yesterday, and I was telling her that from a soul perspective, every single hardship, every single painful moments, every conflict, every single thing that you hate as a human, the soul is like, that is so beautiful. From the soul perspective, the soul came here for expansion. So
Yeah.
the soul is loving every single bit. And it's like beautiful. And that's something that I know deeply.
Yeah.
And so I was telling her that yesterday, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, you know? And so, which makes me then go to the idea that you actually, and we've alluded to some of it, that your soul actually chooses to come, and it chooses like your parents, for example, and it chooses like which family and all of that to come, which country, whatever, to come into this lifetime. And I think like people have such a hard time accepting that, first of all, because it's like, I chose to come into poverty. I chose to come into like a conflict area.
Yeah.
Like, how would you explain that to somebody who's like suffering, you know, and being like, I didn't choose to be born, because that's something that I've seen people saying, like, I didn't choose to be born. Yeah.
As we speak, I don't know if you know Just Ivy.
Yes.
In her timeline right now, there was that conversation going on about people kids choosing their parents.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yeah, just yesterday. And I'm like, this is so interesting. So there was one person where she highlights, and that person understands this speak. So that person was trying to explain how kids choose their families, just what you said, and she's just like, no comment. And why I'm alluding to that is because I've understood also that people are at different stages of evolution. So before I used to be like, no, please understand. It's going to make your life easier. No.
But
then
you
I
can't
realized,
make somebody understand.
You can't. If they're not there, they're just not there.
Yeah.
So I just let it go. And anyone who's open will be open to the idea that they probably chose this, and they will understand why they would choose it. In fact, these days what I do is I ask you, why do you, if you had a choice, even if you're not woo-woo, I just ask you, if you had a choice to choose the life you are living now, what do you think you would have chosen that life? What purpose would it be serving?
Why do you think?
Or what lesson have you learned from this? And then now that gets them introspective.
Yeah, that's like a good way of reframing it.
Yeah, it's
right? Like,
reframing.
because as I know that you said earlier that, of course, suffering sometimes is not necessary for growth, but sometimes like that suffering is actually what pushes you, because you suffer so much, until you're tired of your shit. Sometimes you're just like, I'm tired of this shit, and therefore like I need to grow out of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so sometimes it's like because you look back at your journey and you're like, I hated it so much, but like on this other side, there's so much wisdom that I gained. There's so much growth that I gained from it. And so that's a good way of reframing and asking somebody like, what do you think this lifetime is teaching you? Or like, I love that.
Yeah, that's how I do it these days.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is most important for people to distinguish is the fact that they are not their bodies, they are not their minds, they are not their emotion, they are a soul. So it's the soul that chooses. Because the questioner of did I choose this is the mind.
It's the human.
Ego. Yes.
Yeah, it's the
it's
ego.
not the soul.
It's also soul, yeah.
So the soul did choose. You agreed. Then you agreed to have guides to help you through. So I guess the most you can make of it is ask your higher self and your guides to help you navigate what you chose, whether or not you're aware of it all. So by you do choose, yes, your soul chooses, and it chooses due to the karma that you've accumulated over time, so that it can keep paying the debts it has, or just evolving and growing and getting as many experiences as possible. So yeah, the choosing thing is very nuanced, because there are some schools of thought who say you don't sit down and choose. Like, let me go to, because if it was that way, then why would anyone choose anything? You see. So
yeah, it's human from a human yes, but soul perspective,
yes.
It's like all beautiful.
Exactly. So that's why I think that the distinguishing between the soul and the mind is what's very important. But I think it's because also who you're explaining to matters. So,
yes. Yeah.
But yeah, people choose their experiences. I bet I chose my parents. One, my mom, because she's the best.
Yeah, because you've seen her like in your past life. Oh.
And she's very supportive. My parents are very supportive of my life, because I don't think I'd have thrived as much if I had people who suppressed the things that I have. I prefer I prefer supportive environments. My mom is very supportive, especially materially. My dad is very supportive spiritually. So it becomes a very wholesome idea. Just last night, I was at home and I was telling my dad, so I didn't mention that I'm also a healer. I have recently become an energy healer. And my dad, I was teaching him how to like scan auras and heal and everything. And then when he was doing it, we both noticed that he's super sensitive. He's way more sensitive than me.
Pisces sun, right there, like that
so
Pisces energy.
That's so cool. I think he'd make a really good healer as well. So obviously in Tamskumia, I think he'd make an amazing healer as well, because I taught him how to scan even chakras, and he got it like right off the bat. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So I was telling him, I had a feeling, because I texted him another time, I just got a download, like, your dad he's retired. I wish he would use the retirement period to heal people. And then I texted him, and then I was telling him yesterday, I sat down and thought, if I have this gift of healing, I bet if I came from you, you probably have it. There's a reason why I specifically chose you as my dad. And this is another added reason why. It's like it passes through him to me.
Absolutely. There's a reason why you chose to come together.
For sure,
because, maybe you're there to also show him like, hey,
also,
actually this is something.
Yeah.
This is like an option.
Yeah.
Right?
So we work together. We all work together like that. It's you choose your family, and they also choose you because you're also, maybe I'm contributing also to them growing spiritually, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about people that find themselves in families where it's like so hard. Because there are like family dynamics that are not as beautiful as yours.
Oh God, I'm making it, oh Lord, I'm making it sound so beautiful.
No. Not like, of course there are challenges with every family, whatever, but it sounds like there's a theme of being supported, right? There's that. It doesn't mean that you don't have challenges as a family or you haven't dealt with challenges, but it sounds like the support there. But there are people that come from dynamics that are so hard, right? Dynamics that are maybe so toxic as well. And so, of course, like there's a reason why you're in that dynamic, which you were referring to as karma. And so I don't know if you can speak to soul contracts that you make with people, maybe whether it's friendships or with family, to come and, whether, I don't know, like, I'm not asking as an authority, but I'm just asking as like things that you've experienced or even like talked about like the soul contracts, and whether you can break out of those.
Yeah, you can break out. So I have a person in mind, a friend of mine. She's also in the woo-woo life, so she gets it. So she was wondering why her mom was so toxic. proper toxic from when she was like young, a baby. So later when we were just analyzing it, we just came to, let's say, like the most basic explanation would be, what if you wanted to learn forgiveness, for example?
Right.
For example, just your soul just needed to learn forgiveness. And it's probably throughout lifetimes it has learned, maybe there are different levels of forgiveness. So if you want to master forgiveness, you would have to, it's like class 1 to class 8. So forgiveness class 8 is not forgiveness class 4.
Yeah.
So in this lifetime, you probably picked forgiveness 101, like the PhD of forgiveness. So you had to get, to master it, you had to get yourself a very toxic environment for you to be able to forgive her and master forgiveness.
Right.
So once you master it, never again in your lifetimes will you ever be given a situation where you need to forgive.
Because you've become a master
You-
now. Like,
you've
what else
mastered
do you
it.
need to
Yeah.
learn? Yeah.
So if you do PhD level, you can never like need to go back to a forgiveness class. So you'll probably pick another, let's say, or even just people who are abused by their family members or sexually assaulted and raped and all those things. Maybe you just wanted a lesson. That's why I keep asking, what's the lesson? If you get the lesson, the thing flows out of you. You move on. That's why the soul contract can end once you learn your lesson. So it depends on what lesson you're learning. That is why. So if it's pick whatever, selflessness, hard work, anything you want, you just pick that lesson. You can place yourself in a environment or a family that will facilitate that lesson. Then once you learn it, you get out. So
Right.
you might be estranged from your family, you might forgive them, and then the family dynamic changes. So many transitions happen. Exactly.
Yeah, but is it like in order, like forgiving, does that mean that like forgiving means, especially if somebody was so toxic, does that mean that you still allow them? You know, because sometimes it's so toxic, like you're not able to be on the same, you know, because you're not operating from the same consciousness. Like maybe they're in the 3D or like somewhere in the 5D in terms of consciousness. So you're not on the same.
I understand.
Yeah, you're not on the same. So like if they're not able to like understand or see you or even whatever, like does that mean like forgiving means that you still allow them to have access to you? Because if they will never see things from your point of view, then you would never be on the same level. Can you forgive and still like distance somebody from you?
You don't even have to. This is the other thing I've learned. You don't even have to do it with your mind. Like, let me forgive with my mind. Let me make them understand. No. You just have to. I'm imagining an analogy, let's say, of a balloon or a balloon that is held down by an anchor. So for as long as you're not forgiving, you're held down below the water. So once you forgive, you cut the anchor, you cut the chain, and then the balloon can float away. So it happens automatically. So you float away, not because. So you don't even have to like walk away. The energies will just disengage or merge.
Yeah.
So I have an example. So just yesterday, this is so magical. Yesterday we were talking with my friend, and she was telling us about how she took like almost 20 years to forgive her mom. And they had a really, again, toxic relationship. It brought out the warrior in her, and she became really warrior-like.
Because she needed to protect herself.
She did, yeah. Then she's been doing a lot of inner work where now it doesn't have to be too survival-based. It can just be firm boundaries. That's one. So she learned boundaries. But then when finally she was able... So in that case, she distanced herself. Then eventually her mom went through her... Because everyone has a journey. So her mom went through her own journey. Then eventually with time, her mom herself came and sought reconciliation, and she was able to forgive. So now what happened in that dynamic is that they meshed. They started now talking. They started loving each other. So in that same scenario, she distanced herself to be able to forgive everything she had gone through. Then when she forgave, it worked out. They meshed. There are some people like the boy, the balloon, where once you cut, you forgive, this person doesn't change. They still remain the anchor. They sink and you rise. So it will just happen automatically. So you might just maybe move countries, get married, whatever. You just find yourself drifting away from that person. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I love that you're having these conversations because I feel like we were raised in an era where, and I still, that some of that is happening, where you're just encouraged to stay in toxic dynamics, right? Or not encouraged, or like, oh, this person is your blood. So therefore, like, it sounded like you didn't have free will, or like you couldn't distance yourself because you're related by blood.
Yeah, I understand.
Even though some of that is like really damaging to you, and people don't understand that actually you're doing yourself a disservice by staying in a dynamic that keeps you down, as you were saying.
Yeah.
And you can do the forgiveness work, but the more you keep exposing yourself, like even if you're doing the forgiveness work, you're still in that being pulled down. So I think that protecting yourself and withdrawing, like what your friend did, then allows you to kind of like distance, and therefore like you're able to do that forgiveness work. I feel like you can't do the forgiveness work when you're still being like,
makes sense.
exposed to the same. It's like trying to heal from like an abuser who's like
still there
and keep abusing you.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people who use the word, that phrase, there's a phrase that talks about how, blood is thicker than water or whatever. But that is not the whole phrase, right?
Isn't it? Okay.
No, it's not the whole phrase. The whole phrase is talking about the blood of the covenant. It's talking about like, it's more alluding to like the chosen, like what you choose based on your values, based on your energy, based on how you get along, rather than like the stone cold, like this is your blood. Yeah, I forget like, I forget like what the whole phrase is about, and that makes it so hard for people to get out of toxic dynamics, because they think that they're tied to this because of what they were born into or whatever, whereas like it's you have free will, to choose like what dynamics works for you and what is good for you, and choosing yourself is the best thing that you can ever do for yourself.
In the event that there is someone who lives in a place where because I'm hearing this, what if they are in a dynamic where they can't leave? Another way to do is, we mentioned guides, right?
Right.
And angels and God. And whoever it is you pray to, if you can't leave and you're deliberate and you intend to get out of that, because forgiveness is just, you want out. Yeah. So if I want out so bad, I have to let go of whatever it is that is. So letting go can be distancing yourself or just covering yourself. It's like shielding yourself from that.
Yes.
So as you're shielding yourself, you're doing the work. And once you do the work, like you will rise out of it. So imagine it's like color. If you're like dim, if you haven't forgiven and you start doing the work, it becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. The person who is the perpetrator is still dim or it is dark. The light will the light always wins. The light will win. Yeah. And now that's what I meant by whatever happens to the darkness, it will disintegrate, it will move away, it will die, it will, whatever. Yeah. That's not on you. Your only responsibility and agency is to yourself. Yes. You have to do the work. Absolutely. And do the forgiving. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And forgiveness is for you. Yeah. Right? It's always for you, because, when you don't forgive, you're the one who's living that experience of thinking about, and that is like draining your energy, because where you focus, the energy goes there. So every time you think about whatever they did, your energy is being drained to that. So therefore, you are the one who's doing yourself a disservice, right? So it's you. Forgiveness is for you, so that you can have that peace. And I know that that's something that you've talked about, like the peace of mind that you've been able to reach. Was that because of forgiveness? Oh, yeah, a lot of forgiveness and self-forgiveness. Which is also another thing people don't talk about. Oh, self-forgiveness. Tell me about it. We are brutal to ourselves. It's such a practice, and it's just an ongoing thing that you have to actually deliberately do every day. And then that's the other thing about asking also external help, like guides and God to help you. What I see is like you can cover yourself. You can do this, like I cover myself with white light. I always do that every morning. Oh, yeah, exactly. Almost every morning, like I always make sure to do that. Exactly, because you just cover yourself in a white light bubble, which is usually impenetrable. So you can do the work, yes, but also it just makes you feel like you're loved and you're in the hands of God, and then loving yourself becomes more natural. Telling yourself good things, forgiving yourself becomes more natural, but also you have to do it verbally. Like say it out
Yes.
loud. Write it down. You can't just think it.
Yes.
You have to actually say,
Yeah.
forgive yourself, like a million times.
Yes. I did. I think it was back in March, where I decided that the whole month I'm gonna do like a self forgiveness. So it was forgiveness, but also it was, what was it? It was like a whole exercise where like I was forgiving myself, but also saying things out loud to myself, like things that I'm proud of, things that I
That's so nice.
things like that. So like I was doing it mirror work. That's what I was doing. Yeah. Going to the mirror and forgiving myself for forgiving the versions of me that didn't show up in the best energy, versions of you that were people pleasers, versions of you that like let people cross your boundaries, versions of you that were, we've all had moments where we didn't show up in the best energy, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We were just growing. Like, as long as you're growing, as long as you're constantly, being like recognizing ways that you didn't show up as the best version of yourself and being like, okay, like I want to be the best version of myself.
Yes.
And I think like going back and forgiving that version for not knowing better is so powerful.
Yes.
And it's something that I really did see, like,
it works.
How powerful it is.
It's powerful.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about karma because I feel like the way people think about karma, they just think about like, it's always like if you do something, then something is going to happen to you. But that's not how it works, is it?
I mean, gosh, karma is so wide. It's so wide. I usually try to explain it the most basic way I know how right now is, the basic one is, yes, if you act, you have to get an equal and opposite reaction. That's just it. The thing that makes people confused is whether you're getting your reaction or your consequence in the specific 100 years that you're here, in that same lifetime. So that when people are like, wait, but these bad people are doing these bad things, but they are still prospering, and some are getting karma instantly. So how does that work? Again, it just goes to the soul blueprint, where your soul comes. So the moment your soul came out from source and got into the material world, it started creating karma through basically everything, just breathing, thinking, everything. So it's not just action. Karma is even thoughts that you create.
It's creation, right?
It's just creation.
And you're constantly creating.
Yes,
always. You'll never stop,
So imagine all that karma has to be somewhere and it has to be lived out, which is why reincarnation is justified by karma, because if you haven't finished your bank, let's say it's in the bank, all the actions that you ever did and the consequences, and you have to leave them, you have to keep coming back to a place where you have to leave them, leave the debts or the consequences. So 100 years can't finish all that karma. So you die, take another body. That's chapter 2 of the Gita. You keep going on and on. That's why it's called the samsara, cycle of birth and rebirth. That cycle you can't get yourself out, because how will you do it? So I don't know. Yeah. So now I'm just getting technical, but I hope it's making sense. So that's why sometime when you what happens is when a soul comes, it downloads just a portion of that huge karma, comes and leaves it out. As it's leaving it out, it's creating more karma, which is now going back to the store. So that's why you'll find in a lifetime someone is bad, but they still prosper. But the bad things or the good things are being stored for the next lifetime. Which is why you probably might find someone in this lifetime is like, why me, God? But if you actually were shown your other life, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me live this life.
Yeah, it's what we were
accept it
talking
and
about
finish it.
earlier.
Exactly. And vice versa. If you're a really generous person, you're creating good deeds, you're generous, you're doing charity work, whatever, you're creating a bank of good karma. So in the next life, you'll just find yourself in good karma. That's why I find most Hindus do a lot of charity work, because they're creating a bank of, it's good, it's working regardless. The karmic wheel is moving regardless. So they are creating a bank of good karma, because if they know they are coming back regardless, so they are coming back to a better life, you see? And now, so personally, I find people who, my spiritual teacher keeps asking, you guys are not tired of doing the same thing. Even if you keep having a good life over and over, your soul gets tired, because now it's like, surely I need a different kind of life.
My soul feels like this is... it feels like this is the end. Like,
yeah.
It feels like,
So
what else am I going to come
Exactly.
here and do? Like, it just feels like, I'm kind of done. Like,
So yes, so the
Yeah.
soul gets even tired of that good life.
Right.
So it wants more.
yeah, it wants more,
It
and people
wants-
don't understand
it's,
that. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, people don't get it. So so what happens is now you need to finish your karma one, or get someone who can do it for you and get you out and help. Basically, take the bank karma, the one that's in the bank for you, so that you get
You
out.
can do that? Somebody can take
Yes,
your
some
birth
people
karma?
can do that for you. Yes.
Like you make a
like-
soul contract for somebody to do that?
Those are now the masters. That's where masters, the Buddhas, the Krishnas, the Jesus is coming. They get you out of that cycle. Because in the cycle, you're just going like a hamster wheel. So they get you out. The blood of Jesus saves you from what? It's from that incessant, So people who are like Sadgurus, like a Sadguru, someone who's like a highly spiritual, enlightened, who's left this, gotten out of the wheel, can get you out. So one way that we've been taught is to stop generating new karma. So you're coming with your load, but stop generating. What do? You recognize that you're not the doer, because that means that your ego is not the one that's taking credit for what it's doing. So how you do that is you give credit to God, for example, or you give credit to your higher self.
Right.
Don't take credit because you're creating. So stop creating, or stop taking the consequence. Create, don't take the consequence. It's very complicated.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
trying to,
Do like your duty. So you've come here and we are supposed to be doing this recording. So it's our responsibility, it's our duty.
Right.
But when the consequence of this comes out, if we own it, we create again. So let's say if we win an award, for example, or we are holding on to how many people watch this. No. It's, I am the one who won the award. I'm the one who spoke right. I'm the one. So I'll keep it. Then I'm creating again something from that keeping. Oh, it's me. I'm creating in my thoughts. So I'm creating again, and I'm creating a ripple effect of, okay, now I want another award. For example, I want another award. So I'll keep at it.
Right.
Then
It's
keep
like,
at it.
it's
and
like
keep
when
at it.
your video blows up, and
Yeah.
because it blew up, then you're like, create another one. Sorry, because
Yeah.
you were expecting.
Yes, so
those
you're holding on
results.
to the results
Right.
like that, and vice versa also. If it doesn't do well, the outcome is still like that one, so you are gloomy. See, your mind is thinking,
Yes,
so you hold on to
absolutely.
it, then you create again, and then
Yeah.
it's like a ripple effect.
Right.
That's what karma is.
Oh, I see. It's like if your value and identity is coming from, it's coming from that outside thing. Oh my God, I didn't realize that's what it was, because I've been doing a lot of like inner work around that.
Oh, interesting.
And yeah, because part of, and I'm gonna expose myself here, it's like part of, and I'm sure maybe that's something you've dealt with as well. Part of being like public facing, having a platform, a podcast, having like a TikTok where you post things, some of what you deal with, first of all, like you have to maybe address the fear of being seen, the fear of being perceived. And, in my own case, that's what I ended up doing. It's like, okay, I was afraid of like being on the camera and talking and whatever. I was able to get out of that and start posting, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining confidence, whatever. And then I start posting, and there's no applause, like,
That
right?
one.
There's no, and then so
Yes.
then you have to deal with the pain or like the thoughts that come with regards to like, okay, now I'm posting, but no one is commenting, no one is applauding me for posting. It's like you're dealing with being invisible, even though you're visible, right? So I've had to confront all of that, not getting like what your mind is expecting.
Yeah.
It's like you post and expect to get the applause, expect to get the numbers, but you're not getting them. And then if you suffer because of that, then does that mean that you were posting for that?
Yes.
Or were you posting for like just self-expression? So it's like I'm always confronting that, okay, like the reason I posted is because the main intention is for somebody to help somebody, for example.
Yes.
The intention is to help somebody, or sometimes the intention is for my self-expression, for me to express myself.
Yes.
Right? Those are like ideal, like the values that I've had to like confront and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. So now I didn't realize that there's a karma approach to that, because I've been doing it But I
Yes.
didn't realize that there's like
It's
whole
very
karma like
intricate.
approach to
Using that
that.
example, see, just using exactly your words. If it's self-expression, it's coming through you. It's
Right.
the higher self or just God expressing
Yes,
through you.
through me, yeah.
When you make it self-expressing, that's when you start attaching. Or when you are giving information to people, it is him or her giving through you. So when you do that, you're just supposed to that's the duty. You're just the vessel. Let it go.
Right.
So when now it starts becoming, even when you sanitize it and say it's a self-expression or it's a platform I'm spreading for people, if the small I am forming, you've already held on to it. So you're going to check how many people listened. That's not your business. The higher self already knows which people are going to receive it. So the best approach, because it sounds very intricate, the best approach is that every time you do anything, just give it up to God. Just give it up to so
Like set the intention
phrase,
for the highest good for whoever it's supposed to reach.
Yeah, you can do that. Or the one that our spiritual teacher taught us is just offer, I just offer the fruits of this action to you. Just it. So there's a phrase in Sanskrit called Krishna Arpan. Like, I give this to you. So because you can't keep doing it every minute of every day, which is what you're supposed to do, before you sleep, just give up. You don't even have to use Sanskrit. Just, Lord, I give you my whole day. It's yours. When you do that, he takes the consequences. Now the beautiful part is the consequences will still shine on you. So he will take the consequences. You don't have to leave the consequences, but you do, because if the award comes, it won't go to Krishna, it won't go to God, it will come to you. So there's a beautiful song in Hindi that says, it's so beautiful, it makes me cry. Like, you do everything through me, yet I'm the one who gets the recognition. But what happens is, even when you get the recognition, give it back. So be like, God, thank you. I give it back to you. It's a constant. That's what bhakti is. That's what relationship with God is. It's like we are friends. So everything you do through me, I get recognition, I give it back to you. It's like that. That's what won't create karma. But every time it's like this, it's coming back to you. Can you see the difference? So this one is going back to him. You are just a vessel. Once you're done, your soul will get out because it wasn't attached to anything. But if it's now from here back to here, you will be caught up.
Yeah.
It goes back to everyone.
Yeah, it really goes back to that suffering. Like, you're suffering because of all of these things. You're suffering because of the attachment, which like the Buddha talks about, right? You're attached to things. And I that's something that I've also experienced in my own life. You know, some of the suffering was because I was attached to a certain identity, right? And then I suffered so much because of that identity. And then during my dark night of the soul, then I had to shed that identity. And there was so much pain and there was so much shedding, because it's an excruciating, painful process where you're losing this whole ego. Your ego is dying. That identity is dying. And it's very painful. And whenever I tell people, they don't understand what that's like. And no one can ever understand how it felt, right? But on the other side of it, you realize that when you lose that attachment, it's actually so much freedom. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. It's freeing. It's freedom.
Yeah.
It's lighter.
It's like you let go of this baggage and and now you're just this free bird and you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I guess peace of mind for me came from. It's constant. You have to keep doing it, but it gets easier with time. So you're just more free. You hold on to something, you can realize it, let it go. Let it go.
Isn't that that's one of the biggest lessons for me in this lifetime as well? Of you cannot attach to anything. Yeah. You just have to. Oh my God, I've had to learn that lesson over and over every single time. Because you forget. That's the thing, right? You learn the lesson of non-attachment and not attaching to things. Yeah. But then you're like, okay, I've learned that lesson. But then it's so sneaky how it comes, right?
I think it comes back to test if you have really gotten it.
Yes, and then it comes to you and you realize I didn't realize that I was attaching. Yeah. And then you're forced to painfully release it or stop, attaching to it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. My guru says the spiritual path looks like it's for the weak who have nothing else they are doing, but it's the hardest thing ever. You're undoing patterns of lifetimes that you've been just creating and cementing. Yeah. then you're here being told, no, just give up all the credits.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah. It sounds like we've had like similar journeys, because of course you're a Scorpio and I'm a Scorpio Moon, and
Yeah.
Scorpio is about transformation, death, and rebirth. So every single time I'm forced to like a part of me die so that I can be reborn again. Yeah.
The phoenix.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. As you know, and I think you alluded to it as well, you've talked about like the thoughts of like there's something else better. There's somewhere else better, especially when you're suffering and going through pain, right? And then I'm assuming, because I've gone through it, where like you experience a lot of suicidal thoughts, where you experience a lot of like, I don't want to be here, which I think you said that
All
you
the
experienced
damn
some
time.
of it, right? Like, I don't want to be here, right? But what I've come to understand, it's actually the person who's saying, I don't want to be here, it's not your soul, it's your ego. Because it's your ego saying that I don't want to be here. The I, as you were saying, is I don't want to be here. It's the ego that doesn't want to experience whatever difficulty, right? It's resisting, and that's why it's saying, like, I don't want to be here. But there are people that are not able to take themselves out of it. You've done it.
like
You've
that.
been able to take yourself out of it. I've been able to take myself out of it, right? So people that complete it, it's because they're being sucked into, like they're being sucked into the ego story, and that's where then they end up successfully like completing it. And so you mentioned that it's counterproductive. So I wanna hear why that is. Yeah.
I love how you've explained that. I never saw it that way. Like you're in this state and it sucks you in, or actually I think now that you said that, I don't know if I got myself. I think it was part of this my guru business. Like when it's not even becoming Hindu, it's having Paramahamsa Vishwananda in my life. I think he's the one who saved me. I think he's the one who plucked me out, who pulled me out of it, I think. Because it was very incessant. So that's actually, I just find that important to say. Why it's counterproductive is because what we say that you're relying on your mind, yet your soul had a journey. So when the soul came, it was supposed to complete a certain journey. So it did not envision where we are going to go and be like, oops, no, bye. Yeah. So it's like the soul, let's say the soul wants to finish a certain karma, the way we were just laying it out. So when I'll say this very carefully, so I hope people understand it. So let me just use simple words, but I hope people don't take them out of context. So if you let your mind win, your soul is losing, because your soul is losing time to finish this cycle, to finish this karma. So the way it's been put in certain books is that when you go back, the guides are usually very, like, not pleased. They're like, but why? Why did you cut this short? We had a whole thing to do. One. To the other one I've had is, it's like very... the soul feels really bad, because it's like
people regret it instantly. I hear.
Like I shouldn't have done that. I should have fought more or whatever. And then the other thing is the gift of life. So apparently, I say apparently because I'm still like, that's the part I'm still like, I don't get this, but life is a gift. Because my guru says...
Apparently life is a gift.
I believe people born every day, like it's a progression.
Apparently.
Like I don't see it, but I get it.
Yeah.
Life is a gift. It's rare to get a human body.
I've heard that souls fight to get in line, to
guys
have
are
a human
in line.
experience. Yeah, that's what I've heard that.
People are in line.
Yes.
Kwanza in Yata I heard is people are in line for handicapped bodies.
What?
Yeah. Why? Because in a handicapped body, you finish your karma faster. So if you're like really, really bad karma, you don't want to keep going through like normal lives of pain. So you just choose one painful life and you're done. Yeah, so that's where I know the line is. Like people are queuing to have handicapped bodies.
Handicapped bodies, or like just being or even like having maybe autism or Down syndrome,
think
or
pia
having like a
hizo.
challenge, like
Challenge,
that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
a huge challenge like
but
that. That's
not
looked down upon in this.
yes,
in this,
yes.
yeah, 3D.
But sasa kuna sasa kina autism, which now also more evolved souls.
Oh, those that do telepathy with each other, like they have,
So there's those ones who are just chilling.
It's like so special because
Extra
because they're like in their own world. Like you guys
Yes.
don't understand them. You actually look down upon them, but they're so special.
Yes, there's now that category as well.
Yeah.
And now there's that.
Have you
that
listened to the
category
telepathy
for-
tapes?
No, but I should.
It's about that.
Okay, cool. I will. So then, yes. So life is. I don't get it. But life is a gift. So if you waste the gift, it's like you've been given a gift and then you trashed it, which is like the giver is like, are you serious? Why would you do that? Why did I do all this work to give you this gift?
Yeah.
That's the other things. That's the reason why suicide is looked down upon there, like up there. Okay, well,
On the other side.
on the other side. On the other side.
Up there sounds like, oh God.
I still have the sanskaras. Oh gosh, yes, on the other side,
Yes.
that's why they look. So the other reason is that your soul is never dying, it's eternal. So you'll take on a body. You don't have to. You can go to other planets. It's just that this planet, you discharge off your karma faster.
A lot, because
faster.
Earth is hard.
So you will still find that after you've done your time, you will take another body and come back. For me, that's why it's counterproductive, because you'll still come back.
You still come back.
So just finish your
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Ask for help. That's why I'm insisting. Ask your guides, ask your angels, ask God for help. Because it can get bad. I don't even know whether it can get horrible.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. Life is hard, especially for everyone. Just ask for help. Because what I also know is that people don't know to ask for help, because we said most indoctrination is that if you ask for help, anything on the other side is evil. So you will never find yourself asking. Maybe ask Jesus, ask whoever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, whoever works for you, whatever works for you.
Just ask for help, and they'll come instantly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
I think that's really beautiful, because I don't think like suicide or whatever. Sometimes it's counterproductive, but like being in the what people are trying to escape is the pain. So the ego wants to escape because it wants to resist a lot and wants to escape the pain. It's no one wants to die, but it's I think it feels like I can't do this anymore. Like this is too much.
Yeah.
So it feels so much, and because the ego is just like, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And that is why like people of course escape. And like if you've never experienced that, you would never understand. That's why people are judged, and people say like it's selfish. Right? I would never say that it's selfish, because I've experienced those thoughts, and I know what it feels like to be in so much pain that you want to escape, that the ego just wants, I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, I can understand. And of course I've had stories of like souls like immediately regret like completing suicide, right? So that I, in my own life, I've been like, I guess if I do that, I'm gonna have to come back again. So there's no...
That's the worst part. Like when I learned about that, that's when I was like, okay, then I don't want to go. When it was confirmed to me that you do come back, I'm like, okay, fine, let's just do this. But I understand the people who say it's selfish because of what we said about people who leaving the people behind. You leave them suffering also, especially if they really tried to help you and they couldn't. So it feels bad. I understand everyone's perspective.
I mean, like I try to understand the person who, the reason why like I'm on the side of, not like I'm encouraging it. I would never encourage it. But I think because I understand that pain, it's like, so I always see it from the person, because I'm like, they must have been in so much pain. Because like they weren't thinking, when they were in that pain, they were not thinking about you and you. And sometimes actually what takes people out of it is when they think about their loved ones. But sometimes the pain is so much that somebody just...
There's a time I was in it deeply, and then I think it was my angels or my guides. That time my guru wasn't there. He wasn't in my life. And I saw the photo of, it's so vivid, my family crying and feeling bad, like my mom, Kwanzaa. And my God. So... But it was so bad, I'm like, watakuwa tu sawa. I'm out. But I felt it. I felt how horrible crushing it's going to be for them. but it was, I'd still chosen to go.
Right.
Like, they'll be fine.
Right.
They'll be fine. Me, I can't
Right.
deal with this pain. It's too
Yes.
much.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I understand what
yeah,
you're
exactly.
saying.
That's what happens because it's like you're so consumed by the pain.
Yeah.
And it's like a fight where the ego is like, I don't accept this.
Yeah.
Because it's not your soul. As we know, it's not your
Yes.
soul. It's the ego just being like, I can't accept
Yeah.
this, right? And it's like, okay, I'm done, right? It's like I just want to exit. So anyway, it's a heavy topic, but I think like there's so many people actually that experience suicidal thoughts, but they never complete it. And I think like we need to normalize conversations that it's not when you're experiencing it's your ego. I think like I feel like if we normalize the conversations about being like, okay, can you step out of it a little bit?
Yes.
You know, step out. It's your ego. It's not you. It's not the true you. It's not your true essence. It's just your ego, and you're just resisting like a painful moment that's temporary.
And you're letting your ego win.
Rest,
You know, the
yes.
ego is just, I think, I think the ego is the devil. I always say ego is the devil. It just leads you to everywhere you're not supposed to go. So if you give it everything...
But your ego is also there to protect you.
I hear that and I get it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the ego and the survival brain, the limbic system, were meant for a time that's not now. Honestly, we need to evolve. We need to start using our prefrontal cortex. We need to know about the soul that we are.
Yes.
We can't all be living in the period where everything... We can't say, let's see ourselves as a soul and then take back and be like, no, our ego is here to protect us. No, we need to get protection from something higher. We actually need to let our souls and our higher self protect us. The ego is long, it's outdated.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, I do see where like it could serve a purpose, like for survival reasons, like for practical reasons. You don't want to be homeless. You want to have food and eat. That's your ego, right?
Yes,
That's there to make sure that you have those things. But I do agree with the larger point of like the ego was definitely made for like when we were hunting and gathering and animals chasing us. But then it evolved from that to the mind, because now we don't have the threats of the animals chasing us, but it feels like that, right? When you're suffering, it feels like there's this huge threat, and that's why like you're so anxious. You feel like your body's being threatened. It feels like that how it used to feel when they were being chased by animals, even though it's not happening, even though it's just a thought.
Yeah.
And so I do get what you're saying of like it can really lead you to a dark hole. And of course, if you don't have the awareness, if you haven't built your capacity to have awareness, to be able to step out of it, even a little bit, that's when it sucks you in and you go with it. And that's why like we have, people just completing,
because it's still
suicide.
survival. Like I'm trying to save myself from this pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that survival, that fear, that is what we I guess it's what we are evolving out of.
Yes. Anyway, this has been amazing. So I just want to ask like a few questions about like I don't know have you read the Gita?
Yeah. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would love to learn a little bit about the Gita because it's not the first time that I'm hearing of it, but I've never read it. But I've been curious about it. What are other books that have helped you maybe understand things or like give you language about your experiences or helped you give you perspective about things that you are going through?
I think all of Eckhart Tolle's books.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. All of Wayne Dyer's everything.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Those days, especially before now, my guru and the guitar. And now the guitar and my guru's writings. I'm also doing the school, the pranic healing school, the one I'm learning energy healing from. Their teacher, also my teacher. Their teacher is called Master Chua Sui. He has written so many books which are very simplified. They're very good books. I've spoken about them on my podcast. They simplify so many things and it makes so much sense. He also has books where he has simplified different religions into what they actually meant. Because these religions were also the religious teachers and everything. They were just giving them to the crowd at that point of evolution, in that point in time. So they had so many hidden meanings. So he has... so many unhidden those meanings and explains what some of the Buddha was saying, Jesus was saying, all those things. I haven't gotten there. I'm planning on it, but he has written a lot. So that teacher, I think all those are teachers, Kina, everyone.
Yeah.
Any other book off the top of my mind? I guess those are for now.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, I definitely love Eckhart Tolle. I think I've read 2, The Power of Now and The New Earth. And
Those
in
two
fact,
were mind blowing.
In fact, the Power of Now was the first book that I read.
Same.
That literally, that's the first book that now put me into the spiritual awakening. That's the first time that I started meditating after reading the Power of Now. I had never done it before.
So tiny. I'm like, let me read this book. I was gonna say exactly what you said.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people say that Eckhart Tolle's language is hard to understand, but for me, when I read it, was like my body was receiving the information.
I even
it
remember
resonated
how
so
I was
deeply.
like, oh my God, this person, this book, it makes sense. I felt so validated.
Yeah. Oh, have you read The Untethered Soul?
No, but I've been told.
Oh my God, it's my favorite. It's like, I read it in 2024, 2023. I can't remember, but like, it kind of unlocked something that it like put me like made me understand the existence and the soul like from like a deeper level, because he talks about the fact that we are observers, like you're an observer just observing yourself, like therefore like you're stepping out of being sucked into the story that you're telling yourself, the story that the mind is trying to tell and the ego is trying to tell. You're able to observe it from like a higher perspective. And so when you suffer when you find yourself suffering, is because you've left the seat of the observer and you've been sucked into the story. Right? So he's like, make sure you don't leave the seat of the observer.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's constant practice.
Yes.
I also love Dolores Cannon.
Yes. Yeah.
I love her. I love her.
Yeah. On a day-to-day basis, how do you make sure that you're staying grounded, that you're aware, that you're not being sucked into the ego story and what your mind is trying to tell you and lie to you about?
I noticed that what you said about the ego, shifting from the ego to the mind now, in the current system that we are, that was very apt. So the mind is what I think is the tool that helps us stay in the observer seat, or the ego. It's the one that is the arbitrator, hapo katikati. So what I learned is the key is to take control of the mind. So one thing is my spiritual teacher has given us a mantra that you chant for like an hour. So it just rewires the patterns or gives you like a different pattern. So I just find myself like chanting all the time, like as much as I can. So meditation as well. I have certain yogas at Makriya Yoga, Arhatic Yoga. I have certain yogas that I now do. I have had them, but practicing had been difficult. And then I asked for help. What I keep saying, ask for help. Then something just opened up and I started practicing and I feel a bit better. I didn't know that your nervous system, this is something I've learned, your nervous system is what triggers certain patterns to come up. I didn't know that. So one of the yogas that I'm doing helps you eject the patterns or the triggers from your nervous system. Literally just it flashes out. So I realized that sometimes when things happen that would have happened previously, I don't react the same way. So yoga, mantra, for me, serving the deity at the temple is very high vibrational. So exposing myself to high vibration just purifies my system from like low vibe triggers and everything. So that's really good.
Yeah. I love that.
So fast.
I love that. Yeah, I can relate with the nervous system work because that's something that I deeply love, and I realize that I also don't react the same. Like I can catch myself before reacting because I'm regulated.
Interesting.
Right? Overall, like when you're feeling calm and you're feeling regulated, you're not going to bring this energy of like anxiety and fear. Right? So I really, really love that. And part of that, of course, what has brought that is the work that you do to get to a place where you have peace, you know? Yeah, and people underestimate that. What brings you joy these days?
Oh, my God. These days, I really genuinely love serving at the temple. I just love serving the deity. That always gives me joy. I'm like, I'm so happy I came. Something about it just gives me joy. Now spending time with family, which is something I've had to work so hard on. Friends, having such conversations. I guess this podcast environment, content creation, has been like the best thing this year. It has just been so amazing. exchanging ideas with people who get it. That gives me joy.
Yeah.
Talking spiritual stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We shall have another conversation again. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on this podcast.
It was really nice.
It wasn't hard, right? Like it was so
it
easy.
felt like the first one. Like it just keeps flowing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Miryaam, thank you so much. I hope to have you again so that we can continue these conversations, because as much as it brings you joy, it also brings me joy. And that's why I wanted to talk. I knew. I knew. Remember I told you, I was like, when I watched your podcast, I was like, yeah, I want to talk. I want to talk to her.
That's sweet. Thank you, Tosa.
I'm glad you agreed.
But you're such a good interviewer. Oh, yeah, I didn't get nervous. Did you notice? I wasn't.
Are you? Yeah.
I didn't even notice I was actually taking an interview.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
You're really good at
Success.
this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And until next time, it's
Yeah.
been wonderful.
It has. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Bye.
Bye. We hope today's conversation resonated with you, brought you a sense of clarity, and maybe even challenged you to reflect further on your healing and spiritual journey.
If it touched something in you, would be so grateful if you left us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. And if you're on YouTube, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your reflections or suggestions for future topics.
You can find our socials and email in the episode description. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, take gentle care of your soul, mind, and body.